What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about if Horizon Forbidden West is a buggy mess, or if that's an exaggeration, or if there are points there. I want to go head deep into this, I guess, battle that's being, brought about on YouTube, mainly on Twitter. I mean, let's not kid ourselves, right? But Twitter is hell on earth. We all know that, and so you have to take it with a grain of salt, but a different grain of salt than you would take leaks and rumors. No, all right. So here's what I want to say, and I'm just going to kind of jump right into it. To pretend like this game, okay, is a buggy disaster that doesn't work. It's like the worst put together game of all time. It's like Fallout 76 meets Anthem meets every Bethesda game known to man. I'm just kidding, by the way. Is not, I don't think it's fair at all, and I think it's just a stupid point to stand on. Now, the main, I would say, people that are saying that are mainly Xbox fanboys. By the way, whenever I throw around the words fanboys, I think it sometimes gets people a little upset, so let me clarify that even more. I'm not either of them. I'm not an Xbox fanboy. I'm not a Sony fanboy, but I'm also not an Xbox hater or a Sony hater. I try to look at everything pretty, I would say, normal, just like a normal frame of mind. But I will say, because it gets recommended to me so much on Twitter, even though I follow none of these people, I see a lot of people attacking the bugs that seem to just be the Xbox trolls. I guess trolls maybe is a better word, but maybe fanboys could be another one. So I know that's probably a very small percentage of people, but it does seem like it, because it makes so much noise, right? There's so many people that talk about it, and they get shared around. Again, a lot of these trolling people, a lot of these console warrior people, not a lot of people follow them, okay? Now, again, by the way, I'm not saying I'm very big on Twitter, because I'm not. These people are bigger than me, but they're not like 100,000 followers. They're not gigantic. They're like 2 to 10,000 followers max, and they don't have many people that follow them, but they get a lot of traction because for some reason Twitter just likes to recommend things that make you hate yourself every single day, and that's kind of how Twitter operates. So you have a lot of people that do that, but I want to say one other thing, and this may be the point where you unsubscribe or where you hit the dislike button at the very least. And by the way, it's okay to have differences of opinions, but one thing I truly do want to say, though, is I'm disappointed. And I understand that everybody has a different experience in this game, okay? I truly do believe that. I'm not saying my experience is the exact, like every console and every performance of the game is going to be slightly different from one person's console to the next, right? So you may experience a bug that I don't. I may experience a bug that you don't, all right? I want to make that very clear. I understand that. But to pretend like the game also has zero issues, I do think is also very silly, okay? I would say it's maybe a little less silly than pretending the game is literally Fallout 76, because there's there's so many games, or like, let's say Assassin's Creed Unity. Can we use that as an example? I mean, there's people making these comparisons, right? The game is nowhere near. It's not even in the same universe. It's not even the plane of existence as some of the worst put together games of all time. It just simply isn't like that. But again, I would also say it's also not a perfect game. Now, can you chalk it up to it being open world? That's honestly what I do, right? It's tough because you kind of have to pick where you want to stand in life in this kind of argument, and then I guess you have to be pretty consistent, right? You got to be, otherwise you're kind of just picking sides. I want my games to run. I want them to operate well. I'm not a fan of every game. I understand every game does have a day one patch nowadays, but I'm not a big fan of games coming out. Basically, every game comes out incomplete, right? And they need the help of a day one patch to fix themselves. If you did that 10, 15, 20 years ago, you can never do that. So I'm not, by my morals or by my own standards, I'm not a fan of that. But I also realize just where the industry has gone. And again, to ignore that would be kind of dumb, right? Because it is the way it is, whether I like it or not, it just exists. So the game, to me, I would say is much more working than it doesn't work, right? So if I were to make a spectrum of completely broken, which is where some people I guess would say, right, then completely fine, there's literally no issues, I'd put myself just a little bit past the, it's perfect thing. I have run into glitches. I have run into bugs. I've seen machines kind of hop onto rocks by kind of glitching and moving. Aloy has had some pretty funny, different kind of animations that obviously are not supposed to be there. There's animation issues. There's I think, again, like, some of these things are not by design, but they're by, like, this is just how it is. In The Witcher 3, right, when you're on, or any game, when you're on a mount of any kind, right, the game most of the time can't run perfectly, right? You expect to kind of glitch on a rock, or everything's not very fluid, right? The game kind of gets confused a little bit. When you have lots of people on screen, you may have them like do a weird kind of walk, and the game tries to like fix it on the fly, and then they'll turn to like the position they're supposed to be, right? But they kind of like move weirdly to get to that position. So like those things, again, like by my standards, would I prefer that doesn't happen? Of course. I guess we're all looking for the best possible experience we can get, right? So and by that definition, it means we're all expecting, or not even expecting, we all want, right? We all want the best performance we can get. And we want it as close to perfect, where nothing goes wrong, nothing kind of looks outside of the norm, right? As humanly possible. But again, in the way that the industry is. And that's kind of where I stand. And maybe that makes me more of a, maybe that like only helps the argument that I'm a Sony fanboy, because I'm really not. But I mean, there's that narrative out there. I would say though, this game is more like, again, it works way more than it doesn't work. So in that spectrum, I'm not saying it's and again, I that's what really, it almost annoys me more, though, to me. And again, keeping in mind what I said a few minutes ago, I'm aware my issues aren't necessarily your issues, right? I've seen people say they've had like a flawless experience. There's been nothing wrong. I believe some of them. I also don't believe others, right? If it's a place, because then you see PlayStation trolls or PlayStation fanboys. And when they go to the Xbox people and they say, I've had no issues. It's like, seriously, though, there's not been one single thing that went wrong in your, again, like, I'm not like seeing the machine, right? It was like a charger or something. It like glitched up a little rock, like it was doing its rotation, its little thing, and then it kind of like walked up a rock weird. And it's like, did that break the immersion? No. It was actually like like I was going a different direction. I saw it like I think on the right of my screen, and I kind of like looked at it just to see it happen, right? But like, did it ruin the game? No. You know what I mean? Like, there's things in broken games, like Assassin's Creed Unity, the no face, right? That would keep children awake at night because of how terrifying that was. So, like, there's things like that just you laugh at. You say, how in God's name is that even possible? How did you release a game in that state? There's those things. And Horizon, and pretending like Horizon Forbidden West is that, these people that are trying to trash it like that, is ridiculous. Again, I'm not above criticism on my own channel or for any game. Even my favorite games of all time, I'm fully aware, are not everybody's favorite game of all time, and you can always find something negative in them, right? People have told me their weaknesses of Uncharted 4. That's my favorite game ever. Do I, that's fine. I accept that. So again, trying to see it in all lights, does this game have problems? Yes. Does it have problems outside of bugs or glitches? Can you make some other kind of observations about the game, some of the weaknesses? Sure. This game is not perfect. Like, are we going to really pretend this game is perfect? Are we really going to pretend any game is perfect? No. But again, like Twitter likes to do, right? You pick a side. So it's either, and that's really what this is about, right? You pick a side. Either Horizon Forbidden West, you hit the start button, and it has an error screen, and it crashes your PS5, and you have to throw the thing out, right? It's either that, or there's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. There's not a single bug. There's not a single glitch. Nobody has ever, like, walked up a rock weird. None of that has ever happened, right? Both of those are ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Now, maybe, again, some experiences are better than others, but I'm sure something small has happened to pretty much everybody, okay? Again, and I'm not saying we have to, like, attack the game or, like, you have to find something wrong in it. I'm just talking about this specific argument. The game is not a buggy mess, but to me, it's not it's not the most perfect, where there's zero bugs, but even single-player games have those issues. So again, it goes back into, well, what do we blame? What are we going to blame? Or do we accept if patches patch it? Do we say, well, the patch did it, but then we can say, well, I like my game to work on day one. So again, you have to, like, pick where you want to, draw your line in the sand. You know what I mean? And maybe it's a little, you can move it around. Again, I would prefer all games just work perfect. But I mean, like, that's such a You know what I mean? That's like a utopian kind of mindset, right? That's not how it is. Specifically, it's not how it is for open world games. Expecting an open world game in the last 10 years and going forward literally forever to come out and be just perfect. Like everything works. They don't need a day one patch whatsoever. To expect any game to ever do that, let alone an open world game, is insane. You know what I mean? Every game needs one. Specifically, every open world game needs one. I can't think of one example where, you know what I mean, a game's come out where it hasn't had anything wrong with it. So you have to keep that in mind as well. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure, as always, you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. If you want to follow me anywhere, all my social media links are in the description below, along with our Patreon and YouTube memberships. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you all on the next video.